come up for you. But we are Carolina, ladies and gentlemen, to talk with our guest for the evening, Brother Stacey Young, to hear what he has to say to us on this evening. So we're waiting for the connection to come on in. And what I was saying before I got sidetracked is for all of you who, if you're new to following Testify Tuesday, if you're new to listening to me or following my ministry pages, my new single that's out right now, Jesus, it features our guest of the evening, Brother Stacey Young. We call him AKA DJ Aha! That's who he is. So I can't wait to it says that it's adding. I'm just waiting to see what's going on. He is a phenomenal man of God. He is a phenomenal musician. He is a phenomenal producer. He's a phenomenal engineer. Okay, Stacey, I don't know what happened. Let me try it again.
Hi. Are we good now? Hey, how's it going? How's it going?
It's going well. How are you?
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. How are
I'm
you?
doing well.
Oh,
I'm doing well.
okay, good.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is our guest for the evening, Brother Stacey Young. So I told the people your nickname. I told them that you are now DJ. Aha! Yeah, that's your nickname. It's going to stick. It's going to stick. So what's been going on, Brother Young?
Oh man, it's been going good. I had a good day today. I took the day off. So that makes it great.
So that
So
means you was
yeah, I wanted to.
slacking all day.
No, I mean, you know what? Kind of, yeah, but I really wanted to spend some time with my family and my kids.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just wanted to take the day
Well,
off.
that's a good thing. I mean, that's what we're doing. We're celebrating Christian fathers. We're celebrating fathers that believe in being fathers, not just shooting in and out of the kid's life, but actually raising your children. So just to start like that by saying, yeah, I decided to take the day off because I wanted to spend time with my kids and my children and my family. That's a wonderful thing. That is exactly why I thought of you for Father's Day to come on to Testify Tuesday to share a little bit about you. So first, tell us a little bit about Brother Stacey Young.
Um, Man, I'm a guy that, if you go on my Facebook page, I love God, I love my family, I love people, I love music, and it's pretty much my world, between God and and the gifts He's given me, and being able to enjoy my family, and that's pretty much me. That sums it up. I mean, I'm a big guy. I'm like 6'2", I'm like a gentle giant. I just I'm
I'm
a
almost
I
my
love home.
stilettos. Notice I said almost. But that's
Yeah. And you got a serious shoe collection.
okay.
So I
Yeah,
mean,
we're gonna stay focused. Stay focused. We're not getting confused tonight. So tell us, how many children do you have?
I have four.
You have four children.
Yeah.
I know the
Yep.
answers to these, but I'm gonna ask so that our guests know how many girls, how many boys.
All right, I got three girls. I got one boy. My girls, they're 17 years old. My son's 9, and my last two daughters is 8 and 6. So,
Okay. Well, tell us a
yeah.
little bit about, how we talk about everybody either says that, oh, parenting is, we all know it's a blessing. We all know it's a gift from God, but sometimes it takes that connection with God, that being spiritual, to hear the voice of God to help you when you come up against these parenting issues. Now, I know of a
Yeah.
testimony that you have. I don't know, did you have a specific testimony that you were wanting to give on Testify Tuesday tonight?
Nah, I'm not a guy of like a lot of words.
You want me to just
Well, I mean, as far as like, my testimony as far as like being a dad or,
yeah.
Okay, so so my story is that, it's by the grace of God that I am where I am with my children. Um, my story is that I didn't do everything like I didn't make all the right decisions, you know. God had to process me, but I had to be willing to be humble enough to listen to wise counsel from my own father, um, my pastors, um, because I realized through making mistakes that, you know, I need the grace of God to be an effective man of God, to be an effective husband, to be an effective dad. And, you know, my testimony is that I have failed, but, by through the correction of fathers in my life to help put me in the right direction, I was able to really get better at being a parent, at being a father. And yeah.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit about, and that's just in itself being able to say, I don't have all the answers. I didn't have all the answers.
Yeah.
I didn't make all the right decisions. Because if there's any
Yeah.
parent that says, I did everything right from the time I knew my child was brewing in my belly or my wife or baby's mama's belly till now, that wouldn't be true. That just wouldn't be
Yeah.
because we are men.
Yeah.
We men and women. We are flesh and blood, and we make mistakes. So the fact that you can
Yeah.
actually say, I haven't done everything right, I didn't make all the right decisions, but that shows just how, like what we talked about last week, how God fathers us. God will lead and guide you.
Yeah.
He will send to you who he needs in your life to talk to you, to get the message across.
Yeah.
We even went over that last week, where we say someone else can come to you and say, Stacey, ABC, and it could turn you straight off where you just like this. But then God knows that
Yeah.
right mentor, that right person, that right counsel person to send to you to
Yeah.
say, Stacey, ABC, and you know it's from the Lord, you know?
Yeah.
So that, go ahead.
It's funny you say
Go
that.
ahead.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because, like, for instance, like, Stace, there's a better way that you can punish your kids. You know what I'm saying? You can take things from them. You can do this with them. There's a better way for you to talk because I have girls, so most of my kids are girls, so there's a way I have to get in touch with like a sensitive side. When I'm dealing with them, I can't be like with my boy because when you got a boy, like, let's shoot some hoops. Suck it up, tough it
Right.
up. To my girls, I got to get in a whole nother zone. So I just want to give honor, to my dad, Gregory Young, Pastor Chris Jordan, and my Apostle Jeffrey Mann. They have really helped me and to chisel me, to form me into the man that I am today as a husband, as a father, and it's by their wisdom that really helped me, because the Word of God talks about, we could have thousands of teachers, but we just have few fathers, and that goes not only with in ministry, like with pastors, but also for us young men, because everybody doesn't have to be your biological father for you to actually be
That's
fathered,
right.
and that's where like for me, I'm that kid that it takes a village. I was that kid like it took a village. Like I was getting whoopings from everybody growing up because I'm so hard head, block headed, and
It was open season.
but
It was open season on spanking little Stacy.
yep, yep. And my parents everybody had the green light. If he acting up, get
Whoop
him.
'em.
Yeah.
But when that was the way, things weren't
Yeah.
crazy and out of hand as they are now. You didn't hear about children doing some of the things that right now you'll say, when I was a kid, that's not even something that would have come into my mind. And even if it would have, I would have been so scared about all the whippings I was going to get that I would have
All of them.
right. So
All of
so
them.
that is good. That is good. So tell us about a time. Now you told us a few um stories and instances on how your spiritual fathers and the mentors that God has put into your life helped you with different ways to approach fatherhood. Tell us about
Yeah.
um, one of the stories where God gave you the victory, but as a parent, it was a hard struggle. The struggle was your child's struggle, but as parents, we go through those and carry those loads with our children. But tell us about a time where the doctors may have said something, or someone else gave you a report that God said, no, not so. That's not what I said. Have faith in me and I'll prove them wrong.
Okay, so my son, my son has a disability. Okay, um, and he's deaf in one of his ears. So when he was born, when he was born, he was actually we had two miscarriages, and we had our daughter at UNC Chapel Hill, but she ended up dying 17 hours later at the hospital. So she died in our arms. And that was the process. I had already had my daughter. I had her when I was a senior in high school. So I had my daughter, and when I got married, we had struggled with having kids. And then when our son was born, after we had lost three kids, he wasn't breathing, and they had to take him to the NICU and all that. And through that time, I was really praying and asking God, like, not again, not again, just whatever it takes. I don't want to lose another child. I want our children to live and not die. And he he walked away scarred. He did so great. It was a miraculous turnaround, but he ended up being deaf in his right ear from like everything that he went through. So the doctors were telling us that, he's not going to speak well. He's going to need special therapy, and he's gonna struggle in school. He's gonna struggle with his reading. He's gonna struggle with comprehension. He's just not gonna do well at all in school. He's gonna be behind his peers because with this, the statistics show that most of children struggle with this and that. And I had received that as I was like, okay, Dad, that's just how it's gonna be. So when he was a kid, we were already like having him sign words. Like if he wanted more, we was having him sign more or thank you and things like that instead of teaching him to speak. And my dad pulled me to the side and he said, look, he said, you ain't gonna raise my grandson like that, boy. He said, are you a man of faith or not? He said, either you're gonna believe the report that the doctor said, or you're gonna believe what God said. And he said, and my dad started taking me through people who overcame that. And one of the people was like Elliot Yamin from American Idol. He was one of the guys that was deaf, but he was a great singer. And my dad said, look, man, he said, push him to be great. Except, even though he does struggle with his disability, don't give him an excuse to be any less than great. And he said, never let him use that as an excuse in this world to not be great. And so I took that as a challenge. I needed the voice of a father in my ear to say, okay, that's the wrong direction. Let's steer it towards this way. And I mean, the doctors now, like my son's 9 now, and they're just totally amazed. He does so well that we have taught him, and we don't allow him to think less of himself. Because sometimes people with disability have low self-esteem. We had to tell them, no, you're great. You're a man of valor. You're a powerful man of God. You're going to do great in school. And we are on them. We are on our teachers. We make all of our therapy appointments. I mean, but if my dad had not discerned the moment, I mean, right now he wouldn't be able to be on the honor roll, and he wouldn't be speaking as clear as he does, and reading as good as he does, and being on the, just I needed that, and that's something that we had to overcome, a situation, just one of many.
Now,
So
you know, you and I don't know what I'm talking about. A powerful songwriter once wrote that obedience is better than sacrifice. So ask
yeah,
yourself, if your father would have come to you with this counsel and you didn't listen, you didn't take it to heart, you had
yeah,
your heart hard and was like, no, it's just what it is. I'm cursed. God doesn't love me. You never would have changed the way or changed the direction in which you were doing what you thought was best. And then,
yeah,
obedience is key. Obedience is so good. When the Lord sends wise counsel and sound advice to you, you know it, because the Spirit of the Lord
yeah,
in you should connect with the Spirit of the Lord in that person who's speaking to you, and that's confirmation of what the Lord is trying to say to you. So just
yeah,
the fact, that is a wonderful testimony to have the report this, but then to have the child now 9 years old speaking better than the doctor said, actually speaking at all, not having to sign, to be able
right,
to be able to go to school and end up on the honor roll. That is amazing. That is an amazing testimony. And it wasn't an easy
yeah,
journey, especially for a parent. I'm sure it wasn't, but that faith that God, you promised that if I
yeah,
dedicated this child back over to you, you would take care of him. You would lead him. You would guide him. So God, I'm giving this child to you. And look what God,
yeah,
look, how do we not serve a
yeah,
God like that? A God that is so
yeah.
amazing. So I just heard my song. I just said amazing. For those who don't, I talk all
Yeah,
the time about my brother being an awesome producer, an awesome musician, but his group, True Manna, that is a powerful, powerful group of anointed men and women. It's a group of 4, and I'm telling you, I'm putting my anointed songword stamp of approval. Go pick up that CD. True Manna CD is
yeah,
available on all digital outlets, right, Stace?
yeah, yeah. It's available everywhere. Yeah, True Manna, TrueManna.
It will.
It's yeah, yeah. We're just out the box, man. We do poetry, spoken word, rap, but not in a way that you would expect it to be, and
Told you
it's
I
very
was
unique.
nervous when I played JESUS for my family. I was like, okay, guys, I tried to give it a disclaimer. Now it might be a little unusual, but I want. And my kids like, what are you talking about? We loved that. We loved what he said. I was like, all right, woo.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people. I don't call them old. I call them seasoned.
uh,
Seasoned. And I've had a lot of seasoned saints. They'll pull me in the side and be like, I don't usually like that rap stuff, but it's something about the way when it comes from you. When you produce it or when you rap on it, and I'm just thankful for it.
when your
So
intention is right, when the lyrics that you are saying are coming
yeah,
from the Lord, he will give you the way to deliver it where his people will accept it. You know, so that's
yeah,
just
yeah,
when it's not just, oh, I'm gonna make some money, so let me go and turn R&B rap song into and put Jesus here and put the word Jesus or Christ here, and the church people gonna eat it up. No, 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 no. You have to have a message.
hmm
You know what I mean? So there's a difference,
yeah,
and that comes through in your music. And
yeah,
I
yeah.
love that.
Yeah, our like from my dad, like his example and how he is with music, he's old school, man. Growing up, he was cracking the whip, man. If anybody grew up old school choir, old school anything, they serious, man. Yeah, right. So I mean, and when I got up under our apostle, he just challenged us, man. He just, just write whatever God gives you, right? If it's a love song, write the love song. If it's Jesus, 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 write that. And just be authentic. Be true to who you are.
Tell
So
you, like on that vein, a James Hall rehearsal, sitting in rehearsal while Professor Hall would teach a song or get you to sing. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna say, because that's not easy either.
Yeah.
That's not either.
Yeah.
But when you go back, and I think back in my mind to those Reverend Timothy Wright rehearsals.
Whew. They don't play.
Sometimes I get up there with my entire feelings toe up, toe all the way up.
Yo, cause coming up, like I started out on drums, right? And then I went to bass, and then I started playing piano. And when I was in rehearsals, when I used to live in Texas, man, my dad was so hard on me. I would cry, you know. My aunt Cheryl, her name is Cheryl Clemens. She was a great friend of my mom before my mom passed away with breast cancer. She would always pull me to the side and say, "Look, baby, your dad is doing that because he sees greatness in you." And he wouldn't be so hard on you if he didn't see that you were going to be doing what you're doing one day and to be great and all over the world and whatever she would tell me. So, it was, you have some people that are going to push you to be great because they see
Right.
greatness. I mean, that's where greatness is cultivated from. It's just somebody who's willing to like really pull it out of you,
Right.
so.
Because sometimes now I'll sit and I'll be in a rehearsal and I'll just watch, and I'll see that some of them are struggling to push the note or hit the note or hold the note or sustain straight, not vibrato. Just sing. There are so many differences where you think you just get up and sing, and I thank and praise God now that I had that lashing, that I had.
Yeah.
Now I've seen, because one of the last projects we did with Reverend Timothy Wright, he had all of them. He had Professor James Hall. He had Hezekiah Walker. He had
Wow.
Eric McDaniels. He had all these types of people. Of course, Melvin Crispell and David Benton. There were a whole lot of different New York
Legend.
people who came in, and yes, they're all now amazing artists and award-winning, chart-topping gospel artists. But when Dad called and said, "Okay, I want to do a community album. I want all of us to come together. I want you to teach this song. I want you to teach this song. I want you to write a song and teach." And when we came together as a big family, it was amazing to see how all of the children who grew up under him, how Reverend Wright was able to just sit back and let us do. He was like, "Okay, this is what I want done, and I know y'all."
Mm-hmm.
So to hear you talk about that's, a lot of times there's a lot of stuff that in this day and age, convenience and fast and quick, yeah, that's great, but you lose the meaning and the value in so much when you try to do it easy and take away steps,
It's like I know this amazing artist that is an amazing chef, and she might be doing this thing called Testify Tuesdays. So, it's something that is, and I love to eat. Oh, great, glory to God, yes. Um, so let me tell you something. Cooking in the microwave is fine. It really is, but it's something about that when you're slow cooking that steak, or I mean you take your time with the roast, and it don't a microwave meal don't taste like that oven cooked, home cooked, big mama's house meal. It don't. So if we supposed to be the salt of the earth, we supposed to be
Right,
flavorful. You're just not that flavorful when it's fast
right.
paced. You got to take your time.
Here you go. You try to take a piece of chicken and put it in the microwave and you gonna warm it up. You keep it in that microwave too long, you're gonna have a rock when you pull it out. What you gonna eat?
Hello.
Yeah. Okay. So, but yeah, that's so true. So, if you had to share, and I told you I was only gonna ask you a few questions and I thank you so much. You guys don't know how hard it was to get Mr. I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk. So that's why Tuesday's been going on for how many months now? We started in January. We are in June. And I asked him to do the second Testify Tuesday, y'all. Second one in January. But I won't keep you long. I'm going to go and just ask one final question. In all of fatherhood, and I'm trying to ask you something different than I asked everyone else. So I want to ask you, being of God, being a follower of Christ, being a believer in the Most High, do you believe that that has impacted your ability to father your children? The example of the way Christ fathers us, how different do you think you as a father would be if Christ wasn't leading and directing you?
Wow. Okay. So the thing about serving God is that I call it the mirror check, and God is a God that is all about fruit, and he wants us to be fruitful. And grace does something when you really come in contact with it, and when you have a conviction of carrying your cross like Christ carried
Right.
his. And the thing that makes us really truly love people and love our children, love our family members, and love our loved ones and love our enemies is like when they pulled that woman and brought her to Christ, right? And they brought her she was caught in the act, which means they brought her to Jesus butt naked, right? They didn't wrap her
Right.
up. They didn't wrap her up in nothing. They brought her straight to Jesus, and she was butt naked, and he was writing on the ground, and they said, the law says this, we should stone her. Jesus comes back and is like, okay, you're right. So whoever is without sin, throw that first stone.
Right.
And all you heard was the sound of stones dropping to the
Yep.
ground, right? So what that showed you is that we all have something, a skeleton. We all have a failure after salvation. Those of us that are in Christ, and that's where grace comes in. Grace will do this, like Jesus and Paul. Paul's like, I got this thorn, Lord, take it away. And God is like, no, my grace is sufficient. Jesus comes to the Father and is like, Lord, let this cup pass from me.
This.
I don't want to die on the cross,
Right.
but nevertheless, let your will be done. And what grace says is, no, I'm not taking that thorn from you, Paul. Nope, I'm not going to let that cup pass from you, Jesus. You're going to go through it, but my grace will allow you to be victorious going through it. Nope, I'm not gonna take that issue, that itch that you got, that thing that nobody else knows that you struggle with. But my grace is gonna carry you through, and you will be victorious. And then you'll be able to have a testimony that, hey, I made it through. I was able to get through this addiction of porn. I was able to get through lesbianism, homosexuality, rage, anger, bitterness, unforgiveness, all that. And that's where my parenting started changing as a man, realizing that after salvation, I've made enough mistakes for everyone I come in contact with. And that's why, you know, when you gave me the opportunity to minister on JESUS, God gave me this line, and every time I was about to retract it, I just started getting tears in my eyes. It said, let's see, I failed you many times, but you never failed me. I missed many marks, but your grace kept me. This love that you've shown and this joy that I have, the world didn't give it, the world cannot take it away. And I used to be real hard on my kids, you know. But when I came in contact with grace, it gave me it. I've learned to extend the grace to my children and to my family that God extends to me. And when you come in contact with your cross and seeing the sacrifice that God had to make, that Jesus had to make for us, for the ugly things we were going to do after salvation, after we surrendered our life to Christ, and the ugly, nasty things that we all of us have done.
Right.
It lets me look at my kids, and it helps me to extend grace to them, and just to, instead of being so militant and so, like, boom boom boom, like the law was. I'm extending grace like how the season of grace is that we're in. And You know, you don't even have to be a Christian to follow that principle. You know, I mean, how many times do we mess up on our jobs? How many times do we, be honest, do you follow the law when you're driving? How many of us speed? How many of us make errors and mistakes every day? Of course, our children are going to make mistakes. They're going to fall. They're going to fail. I tell my kids that. I say, look, I'm going to be real with you. You're going to fail. You're going to fall. The thing is, what are you going to do when you pick yourself back up?
Right.
And I'm going to give you grace, but, don't take advantage of it at the same time.